Oh, good day, social media. Didn't see you there. Welcome to the first edition of What's Up, a weekly roundtable where we discuss hot supplement topics, ingredients, and also some of our strongest deals. My name is Chris Ullery. I'm the Director of Content Strategy here at Bodybuilding.com, and I'm joined by these three handsome gentlemen this morning.
You're using that term loosely.
Indeed.
But,
these three men, these three males of the species.
yeah, I'm Keith. I'm the Director of Brand Marketing at Bodybuilding.com.
Alec. I am a compliance specialist within our regulatory compliance department.
And my name's Tyler. I work in compliance as well with Alec with more of a science specialty.
So we have a wide array of knowledge and expertise around the table here. We're going to talk this morning in particular about supplements that we have on buy two, get one, which contrary, so Keith was under the impression that meant you paid for two and only received one. It is not in fact that deal. No, it's not that way. No. It's a little friendlier. Buy two, get one free. We have actually an awesome selection of products on that promotion all week long on bodybuilding.com, including proteins, pre-workouts, some bars. And what we're basically going to do is go through that list of products, kind of talk about some notable and noteworthy features of each one. The link should be on the page you're watching this on, so you can check those out and follow along. But then we also just want to field any general questions you may have and kind of engage and interact and see what's on your minds.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about your roles before we dive in? Any additional info you want to give?
Well, I work here as kind of a specialist in the science behind the ingredients for the products that we sell. And so one of the things that we were hoping to get out of this program today was hopefully you, the viewer, could submit questions to the chat. I've got my eye specifically on Twitch, so if you want to submit ingredient questions, please feel free to ask those, and we'll see if we can get them answered for you.
And then I focus more on the SKU onboarding side or validating claims in regards to products they're doing. Work pretty closely with Tyler on that one. And a lot of, whether it's private label primarily is what I work with, and a little bit more of our equity brands. RSP, EVL, those guys are heavy hitters with my team. And really just going through the store content so that you guys can see what the products do, make sure that they're being reasonable and compliant with that.
Yep, everything's verified, substantiated, and accurate. Keith?
Yeah, and I focus on primarily offline marketing. Our team works on social media, team athletes, events. So we're very customer facing, and we work on a lot of live events now. So we just want to hear from you on any questions you might have about these products that were on promotion today, and hopefully give you some tips or information that you didn't have and show you why these are some great products.
All right. Well, let's get into it. We actually have we have all the products on hand, so we can pull them up as we discuss each one. And we'll just kind of talk about a couple interesting features or noteworthy ingredients on each product. As mentioned, all these are on buy two, get one free this week. The first one we're going to talk about, MuscleTech NitroTech Whey.
Boom.
Boom.
Yes.
So this is it's a fantastic protein. It's been on the market for a long time, so it has a lot of recognition. Anything you guys want to mention just specifically about this?
I guess one of the biggest things about this protein is the really high amount of whey isolate that they're using. Isolate's probably the highest quality whey that we have. You know, it's fast absorbing. There's not a lot of sugar, not a lot of fat involved with it. So this is just a good quality protein with a really high serving, 30 grams per serving. So it's a pretty great post-workout supplement for you to really bump up those blood amino acids after you're done.
And on top of that, not very many whey isolates you'll see actually have creatine included. Creatine mono being a big heavy hitter in the supplement industry, tons of studies to support it, and a ridiculous amount of muscle building based goals on it. Yeah, so it's pretty fantastic, that idea.
Any questions on you guys are getting about NitroTech specifically?
Well, I have a good question from Henderson Sanchez here. Wants to know, are we going to kill our livers with all of this?
It's a fantastic question. Unless you're consuming it with a lot of beer or liquor in your shake.
I mean, water works, but then, you know.
Yeah.
It's totally fine for your liver.
Yeah, we can say with confidence that the amount of protein that you would need to consume over a huge amount of time is just enormous. So if you're just supplementing with normal protein supplements like we have here, absolutely no issues with liver.
You guys want to talk a little bit about what people, when they're taking a protein, depending on their goal, kind of daily intake? because you bring up a good point.
Right.
You know, it's not just about a kind of a product in a vacuum. Protein is all about daily consumption and looking for a specific number of grams per day. So do you guys want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, that's all going to depend on a couple of factors. Number one, how big you are. Consumption is based highly on your body mass. And number two is how much you're working, how much you're breaking down through your exercise. So it's going to range anywhere from 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram of your weight.
Yeah, so yeah, good rule of thumb for a lot of people is just a gram per pound. Fairly easy, achievable target, and it's going to cover a wide range of goals.
We have a couple questions coming into here. Let's see. One gentleman here is asking, their trainer asked them to take serious mass, but they want to take Nitrotech. They're a beginner and feel that they're underweight. Which one would be best for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, we can all kind of chime in on this. My take would be it really depends what you want from the product. So it depends what you need to supplement your diet with. So if you're protein low on your whole food diet, I would actually go with something like Nitrotech, because what you're really missing from your whole food spectrum is the protein itself. If you're just calorically low and you just need to increase total calories overall, that's where a gainer is going to be the most beneficial, because I think Serious Mass or you know, Mass Tech, some of the others, 600 to 1,000 calories per serving.
Not much more.
Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty heavy caloric load, right? And sometimes, I mean, the scoops in those, you know, they're like backhoes, they're enormous. So they are really beneficial for somebody who just needs a wallop of calories. And granted, they're gonna contain more macros than just protein, so protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Absolutely. So yeah, I would say tailor it based on what's really missing from your diet and where you want to get those calories. I find I would rather get in a lot of whole foods than a gainer, just because it's more satiating. But you know, either product can be extremely effective.
And it all depends, like what Chris said, on your diet, your person, like what works for you, what your time of day is. If you're able to consume whole foods, you have enough time to cook throughout your day, that's probably the best way to go for it. But if you are on the go, you're a student, and you need to get it in real quick, a shake works. But I would always say lean whole foods and then have this to supplement a low protein.
Leads into a great question here too, if we can take it before bed. And I think there's a lot of benefits to taking this product before bed, and I don't know if anybody wants to chime in on that.
This is a good product to take before bed, just because you may not have eaten for a little while. I know some people try and refrain from eating for a couple of hours before bed, but you want to keep your blood amino acids high while you sleep, because otherwise your body may go into a catabolic state. I actually may consider going with a casein before bed as well. Isolates tend to absorb very quickly, make your blood amino acids go up very quickly. But unfortunately, they do diminish quickly after that, whereas a casein would make for a much more sustained amino acid release. So yes, we could use this before bed, but there are also other products that may be able to do it a little bit more effectively as well.
Yeah, and that would depend too, I think, on what you eat it with. Again, it's always in context, right? So cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, for example, those are both high casein food sources. Milk protein is casein in whey, and it's predominantly casein.
So you're saying to mix this with Greek
yeah,
yogurt?
So if you were to have a whey protein before bed, think about mixing that with Greek yogurt. We call it Progurt around here, and that's actually going to give you a broader, you know, kind of protein profile. You're going to get whey and casein.
I call it Brogurt.
Brogurt. And that's advantageous, because you're going to get a nice spike of kind of those fast absorbing proteins. But to Tyler's point with the casein in there, which is sort of a longer release, steady drip protein, you're going to get more coverage overnight as well.
That's right.
And depending upon your actual caloric allotment throughout the day, if you're really calorie logging, some people that are in a deficit obviously are going to get a little more hungry at the night time. If they need to get like a quick shake in and to kind of halt any sort of cravings prior to bed and just to sleep through it, it also helps for a weight.
We'll move on to our next product that's also available, buy two, get one this week. Another protein from Musclepharm here.
Staple here.
Yeah, 100% whey combat powder. What flavor do I have? Oh, I ordered cappuccino. That's a good one. I think it's I think it's a 9.2 or something like that rated. The flavor is rated really high. It's delicious. I know you drink or put a scoop of protein in with your coffee every morning as well.
Oh yeah, all the time. That's my usual breakfast: skim milk, protein, and coffee. Or
Your brothy?
yeah, brofy.
I call it
my
brofy.
Brofy. Yeah, and this is exactly the kind of protein I'd look for. It's 100% whey, which means it's a whey blend. It's going to be a blend of isolate and concentrate. And we talked a little bit about that earlier. It's just kind of a matter of purity. Whey isolate is really pure. It's virtually free of lactose, really low sugar, fat. Concentrate is still really high in protein. So oftentimes it's good to blend the two, or you'll see it blended in a lot of products. That's what this is, because it gives you, I think this is only like 120 calories a scoop.
It's extremely low.
Yeah, so really low calorie for the amount of protein you're getting. That's a good way to think of it when you're looking at protein labels. How many grams of protein am I getting for the total calories per serving? And that'll kind of tell you how much of the product is protein. This is a really solid product for that reason.
Absolutely.
And flavors.
And a nice thing as well, a lot of labels will show this. So this is an informed choice product as well, meaning it's third-party tested to verify that it's free of banned substances. So with that in mind, high school athletes, college athletes, pro athletes, they're all able to take this product, which it allows for just a bigger chunk of the population to be able to use it and feel safe knowing that it's been tested.
Right, that feeling of safety is becoming more and more important. Manufacturers tend to make products for multiple companies all at once, and maybe they're making one product that has chemicals in it that may not be allowed in high school or college sports, but then at the same time they're also making a whey protein. And so we just want to assure that there's never any cross-contamination between those ingredients, because you don't want to be a high school football player and you're just taking your protein and then all of a sudden you get a banned substance in with your protein. So you didn't do anything wrong, but you're getting pinged for a drug test. So this is just a certification that shows that this company has done everything that they can to make sure that their product is banned substance free. So that's pretty reassuring.
Questions are rolling in hot and heavy. Do you have anything over on the Twitch side that we want to
Twitch
address?
has actually been pretty quiet.
Come on, Twitch.
We had one question early on about a ton of specific ingredients, and we may get to some of those a little bit later. But for now, we're going to focus on a little protein.
Yeah, I have some questions here about overseas. We do ship overseas. Each country is a little bit different, so check your country catalog. Some of these products may be available, some not. This promotion itself, I believe, is domestic only. It's global, I'm getting in from the back, so congratulations.
Just in, sources say global, buy two, get one.
And what's cool about this, I don't know if I mentioned it, all the products we're featuring here today, all but one, they shipped free. All this awesome stuff here. I don't know if you can see. Free shipping on orders over $49 on thousands of top products. Check it out. We just rolled this out a few weeks ago. It's a way for us to give back some give back to you all, and we love you so much, and we appreciate you coming to our site and shopping with us.
Yeah, when you, oh, sorry.
We have one from YouTube.
Hello.
Oz Zangana. Do you think taking whey protein is enough, or do you need to be eating other forms of protein?
So do we think that taking whey protein is enough, or do we need to be taking other forms? I think we touched a little bit on it with the casein before bed, and there were some questions about blends. I think it's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about the different types of protein and why we take them.
Sure, yeah.
Before we talk about whether something is enough or not, I think it's really important to push that we want everyone who wants to live a healthy life to also practice a healthy, balanced diet. And so we have to treat our supplements as just that, supplements to what you're eating healthy at home. And so if you're eating a wide range of healthy proteins, a whey protein is a perfect supplement to that, and you don't have to supplement with anything else. If whey is the only protein that you are intaking, I would probably try and spread out different kinds of protein just to make sure you're getting every amino acid in the right amounts and good mixtures there. But hopefully you are eating your chickens and your beans and all the other protein sources, and this is just a way to add on to those macros at the end of the day.
All the proteins.
Yeah, and I don't want to misquote it, and it wasn't done on whey specifically, but there has been some research on efficacy of protein as the sole or primary source of protein. And if I remember right, so there is some good research on why you want protein diversity in your diet. And some of that is even just for gastric reasons. You know, if you have a lot of the same thing, depending on your own sensitivities, you might get stomach upset if you overdo it on one particular protein source. So even just for reasons of kind of comfort. Also, yeah, you know, you want to make sure that you have a really diverse diet. And you know, there's a lot of metabolic diversity in among people, so you kind of have to tinker around with that. Yeah, so I would say whey is a great source of protein, and the way you measure protein quality, several different ways to do it, but it's really bioavailable, really high protein digestibility, kind of corrected amino acid score, which is a good way to measure protein quality. So it's a fantastic quality protein, but I would still suggest having other proteins alongside it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the nice thing with these are that they're most of these tubs will last you a month because you should be taking like 1 to 2 servings a day with it. Like myself, I balance between tons of red meat, chicken, other animal-related byproducts in terms of protein.
Sounds delicious.
Animal pieces.
But a lot of
If it
it's
walks, I eat it.
and it's just the amino acid profile is just different from item to item. And
Yeah.
when you can have, they hit different muscle precursors that will allow for growth that way. So whey is fantastic, and if you have a bit of a sweet tooth, you can kind of curb a little bit of that. So.
But yeah, I think satiety, or how satiating, how full of protein makes you feel, is important too. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Because whey is digested and absorbed so quickly, you're going to get a rapid spike in blood amino acid levels, and but it may not keep you as full for as long as a whole food protein, or even like a casein protein, which casein, when it hits your gut, actually globs up.
That's right.
It forms these little, think of them as just little globules, which is a fun word to say.
Globules.
And as a result, as it's digested, you might feel fuller longer. So protein diversity is important from that perspective too.
I want to get real fancy. We can call it a bolus.
A bolus.
There we go. There we go.
A globular bolus.
Fatty protein. All right, we have a
I
question.
sure hope there's another question.
We have one
Let's
here
see.
from Twitch,
Great.
from Crystal Clear. What are the benefits of taking these proteins when you wake up?
Great.
Alec, you want to jump on that?
Ooh, so your body's been in a bit of a sleepy state prior to this, so then you've been fasting for X amount of time. You got to kickstart your metabolism a little bit in protein synthesis by including a bit of a protein source to start your day off. Depending upon if you're a morning lifter like myself, I always try to get a little bit in prior anyway, but it's a good way to say if you're going to delay your next meal, have a little bit of protein, then you can be satiated till X amount of time.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, Crystal.
And I misspoke earlier. The promotion is global, excluding the UK.
Oh, sorry.
Our friends over there in the UK.
It's Keith's fault.
Maybe a
I'm
Brexit
coming
issue.
to the UK this week. You can yell at me then.
Yeah, find Keith at Body Power. Beat him up.
Pounding on the doors.
Please don't beat me up.
What's going on?
Please don't beat me up. We have a question here. Would this be a good product to tone up with?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tackle. So yeah, protein's awesome in part because it's so versatile. Protein's obviously essential for muscle growth and repair, but the nice thing about protein is it actually does support anybody who's got weight loss or fat loss as a goal.
Yep.
For several reasons. One is because out of all the macronutrients, protein, carbs, fats, protein's the most satiating. So it's actually going to help you on a diet because you're going to feel full with a high protein diet. That's good when weight loss is your goal. You don't want to overeat.
That's right.
Another thing about protein, supplements or just any protein source, there's something called the thermic effect of food. And thermic effect of food is basically how much energy does it take your body to digest that particular food source. And protein has the highest thermic effect, which means that to digest and utilize protein, your body actually has to spend the most calories. So it's kind of good from that perspective as well. And then finally, sorry guys, I'm on a long
Oh, you're
ramble.
going great.
Always talking.
Yeah, I'm a little verbose. Last thing, obviously when you're dieting, what you're really trying to do is lose fat and maintain muscle. So protein is obviously essential for muscle maintenance so that when you have shed those unwanted pounds, you're revealing the steel, so to speak, and and you maximize the amount of muscle you maintain over the course of the diet. Super important.
And frankly, the more lean muscle mass you actually have, the faster your metabolism is.
Oh yeah.
So if you're able to maintain your muscle mass with the protein powder in these instances, you're going to actually burn more than you would have normally.
Yeah, muscle's metabolically active tissue. Fat isn't, so muscle takes calories to maintain.
That's right.
So the more muscle you've got, the faster you'll lose weight. And honestly, when you build muscle, you can eat a little more too, which
Isn't that nice?
is great.
Speaking of eating a little more,
Here we go.
This animal. He has a box a day.
we have a. These are awesome though, by the way. Chocolate peanut butter elite protein bars from Diamatize, available now. Buy two, get one. I want to say hi to my boy Andy Ivers, just joining the feed here. Hope
Hey,
you're doing
Andy.
well out
Hey,
there.
Andy.
But protein bars, another great way to supplement and help you achieve your protein goals for the day while kind of kicking that sweet tooth or curbing the craving. And also, I like to feel like I'm eating something versus just taking
Yeah.
a shake all the time.
Absolutely.
So let's see if we have any other questions.
Well, these are
here.
sweet. I think these have 25 to 30 grams of 25 grams of protein. So these elite bars actually have a lot of protein, whereas most bars these days are coming in around 20, 22, I guess, is the more common
Yeah.
that you'll see.
And it doesn't have an obscene amount of fiber.
Yeah.
These are,
I agree with that.
Like I'm a big fan of fiber in general, but everybody wants to be correct in that department. But
Be regular.
Be
Your
regular.
consumption of fiber.
But 6 grams in this flavor in particular, that's fantastic in the sense especially if you're tracking food and you're getting a lot through greens or potato forms. but it allows for you to have a snack, be satiated from the protein along with the fiber, and if you're on the go.
And one of the other, a lot of protein bars have various protein sources. So you'll see a lot with soy protein, sometimes like egg protein. This is, I think, a pure, it's just whey, right?
We've got concentrate hydrolysate and isolate. So
Yeah, so 3 different sources of whey protein. So it's a really high quality protein blend in this bar.
You got any questions over there in the YouTubes?
We had a question from Zane. What happens if he takes creatine without water?
What happens if he takes creatine without water?
I mean, are you just eating the powder?
Like just dry powder, yeah.
It's tough to swallow.
Sounds like a cinnamon challenge waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Just a spoonful of creatine.
I don't know if he's speaking to
Or maybe
muscle
talk about
cramps or not enough hydration.
Water.
And water
Yeah.
intake, yeah, overall. So yeah, just cover briefly. Yeah, obviously it's important to stay hydrated regardless of supplementation yet. But with creatine, I think it's particularly important. So while you could take it without water, you wouldn't want to reduce your overall water or your hydration intake.
That's a power move more than anything.
Yeah.
So,
We do have a question here from Sam Squire. He says he's a physician, and he's curious if we've ever trained or advised patients with celiac disease. Although most whey and caseins are advertised as gluten-free or low gluten, I'm not sure the regulatory bodies scrutinize them carefully.
ooh.
This will
Insert-
definitely be an out
like a
question.
Insert me.
Insert.
So a lot of with what I do primarily is I work with third-party labs for our own products as well. So whether you see a gluten-free claim on something that we have our financial ties to, I'm there to verify that it actually is that way. So depending upon the certain ingredient, gluten-free, I believe, in terms of the regulatory bodies, is if it's lower than, I want to say 10 to 15 parts per billion.
Ooh, bees.
Yeah.
Billion, yes, and that's low. So that's not enough to do anything at that point. So most of the time when you're making a certain claim on something like this is that it's got to be extremely low. 0 is not a thing. However, there's definitely high scrutiny if somebody's making a gluten-free claim, especially for our celiac
That's right.
customers.
I have another question here. He's saying, please take a look at this question. So, can we take protein with milk, or is it better taken with water? Is there any difference in the absorption rate?
Oh yeah. Go for it.
Well, you can definitely take protein with either milk or water. If you put it in milk, it's going to change the macros of the protein. So you're basically adding milk protein to milk. So you're going to be getting more protein. You'll also be getting a little bit more fat, depending on what type of milk that you're using, whether it's skim or whole milk. And then also milk is going to have a little bit of sugar in it as well with that lactose. Obviously, if you're lactose intolerant, I probably wouldn't mix it with milk, as that'll exacerbate any issues you may have. But as far as absorption, I haven't read anything about milk providing any sort of benefit to absorption.
Yeah, I think the only thing you've got to be cognizant is you're adding a small amount. I mean, milk protein is casein and whey, so if you're taking a whey specifically, and let's say you're taking it precisely because you want a fast digesting protein, you're going to get some additional casein in there, but that's not detrimental. So I wouldn't worry about it. I think in like the hierarchy of importance, first and foremost is, will you drink more of it with milk? Will you enjoy it more?
It'll certainly be tastier.
Yeah, but will it be tastier? And can you,
Creamy.
if you track your macros or log your calories, do you have the calories to support just being aware of the extra calories it's going to add?
Good call.
Yeah, so it's not going to be detrimental to your goals to necessarily add milk.
Unless you're
Another
real
product available this week on Buy Two Get One is the Musclepharm Combat Crunch Bars. These are delicious as well. I've picked them out in the cinnamon, iced cinnamon.
They're so good.
Yeah, man.
This is a
Pro
this is
tip.
portable breakfast.
Pro tip, 15 seconds, maybe 8 seconds in the microwave. It's like you just walked up to the Cinnabon station.
That's
you know,
fact. It's a fact.
Delicious.
But you were super jacked and beat them all up.
took all the cinnamon rolls.
A little bit lighter on the calories on these ones compared to the Dimetize. They're coming in at 210 instead of the 260. So if you're looking for, I guess, a little bit of a lighter option when it comes to your breakfast cinnamon bar needs, this will be a little bit lighter for you. And then I think the protein, this one is entirely whey isolate. So
Along with that, segued back to what we were just talking about, these are actually gluten-free too. So
another win.
Yeah, and these, I think similar kind of, to talk about like texture and taste, somewhat similar to the Dimetize. This is a baked bar, so it's got a really nice kind of crunchy center. So the flavor on both these and the Dimetize Elite bars is out of sight. Protein bars have come so
Oh,
far
light years,
in,
yeah.
in the last several years, not only in terms of nutritional value, like the macros are getting better and better, but flavors, textures, all that is improving as well. This cinnamon Swiss one's really good.
Chrissy Kendall would like to know if they have creatine in them.
Everything should, to be frank. I mean, I wish everything did. We could all benefit from a little creatine supplementation.
Oh, Chrissy.
Whether for performance, physique, or even cognitive goals, creatine's
That's
very
right.
important. I don't think they do. I wish
I
they
don't
do.
believe so.
Don't get me wrong. I wish they
Creatine
did.
free.
What's the next?
Oh,
It sounds
Like
like
we
yes.
have one from YouTube.
Yeah, any other protein questions? We're moving on to another category. We're going to go into pre-workout. So.
When tracking macros, can sugars be tracked separately or should be tracked as a carb?
Well,
Gotcha.
that's kind of an interesting one. Just depends on what you actually are trying to be, like how gung-ho. Sugar is good for you in different aspects. You don't want to necessarily have an obscene amount, but sugar is going to naturally be tracked with your carbohydrates anyway. But it's something
Henderson says sugar is bad. Okay.
well, sugar's good, MK. So
It's delicious.
Uh,
No, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, so a little bit, like paying attention to your sugar and fiber is a big deal. A lot of people don't necessarily track their fiber either, but if you, a good rule of thumb, in my opinion, is to keep your sugar intake below your fiber intake, because let's face it, sugars are in fruit, and if somebody tells you shouldn't consume fruit, it's not really.
It's tough.
So
Fruits are tough because they give you so many good things, vitamins and some minerals, but at the same time, they're nature's candy, man. They're full of sugar, and your body treats it just like candy. So sparingly with the fruits, but I definitely wouldn't eliminate them. I would
sweet tarts and apples.
Well, I think what you're talking about too is naturally occurring versus added sugars.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and depending on your goals too, it really does. So if you're tracking your calories, yeah, it'll get folded into your carbs. But if you want to minimize or watch out for added sugars, which I think is a good practice, especially if, and not that this should be construed as medical advice or anything, but if you are pre-diabetic or you're curious about diabetes, watch your refined sugar intake. Sugars, and high fructose corn syrup are pervasive. They're in a lot of products, so I think it is good to be mindful of them. And you bring up a good point about timing as well. Sometimes if you have a physique goal in particular, you do want a nice hit of a fairly rapidly digesting or rapidly absorbed sugar. So, that can be something that's beneficial post
New product alert.
recovery.
Here we go.
Oh,
C4.
Well, we're just jumping right in.
0. Okay. There's a few different types of C4 out in the market. This one just launched, is available on Bodybuilding.com. It's part of the ID series. What's really cool about what Cellucor has been doing with their line of pre-workouts, depending on what your goals are and your tolerance to different ingredients in the pre-workouts, they have one for you. So check out the Cellucor brand page on Bodybuilding.com to get more information on the different types of C4 available and how they can align with your goals. But this new one, C40, just dropped on Bodybuilding.com the other day. And it's pretty awesome from what I hear. If you zero tingles. I like the tingles.
So I know I struggle with this, and I talk to Alec about it all the time, but whenever I get any sort of, I mean, even an average dose of beta-alanine, I feel heavy tingles in my face. It's not as much in my hands, but in my face, and it's really uncomfortable, and sometimes it makes it almost not worth taking the ingredient because I don't really like it. So this is
oh, sorry, Tyler.
That's okay. But this is a fun product because it gives you a lot of the stim and a lot of the great advantages of a pre-workout without having to deal with that discomfort.
Yeah, it's the reverse of that song by The Weeknd. I can feel my face when I'm with you because I've had so much beta-alanine.
Oh my gosh.
And my skin feels like it's on fire.
Yeah, so 0 creatine, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 calories.
all go.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
I love beta-alanine as a performance ingredient, but I think it is important that it does have a sensory effect. So this is a great product if you don't
one thing
want
that
it.
I worried about when I saw that this product came on is are they charging me the exact same amount for a product and all they've done is delete an ingredient? And thankfully, they've given you something since they've taken something away. So they've actually added 3 grams of citrulline malate as well as a dose of BCAAs. So you're getting a good little bit of citrulline to help with some blood flow, some vascularity, some pump action there, and then the BCAAs to help with your recovery and energy during the workout as well. So it's a great product that I think is going to help a lot of people get through that tingle issue that they've had.
Buy 2, get 1 free. Orders over $49, ship free on top products across our site. Check it out.
Boom.
Layla from YouTube asked, should women take pre-workouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Human
100%.
beings.
All
If
right,
they want to answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I
no,
gotta-
no reservations here.
Let's see.
And FYI, it's in an explosive energy blend. It's 425 milligrams of power
Of
an energy blend.
stim
We had a
blend?
question about how much caffeine is in there.
Should be on the
Oh,
label.
so
somewhere.
150 milligrams of
there you go.
caffeine
Yeah.
in their
150?
proprietary blend. So
Okay.
150 is not bad. That's about a cup of coffee.
It's nice that they're able to tell us that. Usually with prop blends, you don't get to know any of the dosages because it's a trade secret, and they want to make sure that no one's copying them. But with caffeine, usually companies are a little bit more open to telling us about it, and thankfully 155 is good. I have a question here on Twitch from Tomination Time. He says, pre-workout question. Caffeine we can build up tolerances to. What about other typical workout compounds? Can we build up tolerances to things like beta-alanine, citrulline, theanine, etc.?
So on that with beta-alanine, a lot of people that don't take it enough or as much, they have that sensitivity to it. People like myself who take about 6 grams a day.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. However, the benefits of it are just
a lot.
Yeah. The benefits are fantastic, but more of a sensory effect, yeah, you will build a little bit of a tolerance to it. I feel like vasodilators are less likely to,
I don't believe so.
yeah, agreed. Like citrulline, the same dose still hits me the same first time I've ever taken it. Beta-alanine, yes. Caffeine to a certain extent.
Oh, absolutely, with caffeine.
For sure. And that's why, but thankfully, companies are being a little bit smarter nowadays and going after compliant forms of ingredients that are a different type of stim. So we'll get to some of the products that have that, I believe.
Yeah. And another one of our pre-workouts on Buy Two Get One this week is Nitroflex from GAT. I have it here in the black cherry flavor, which is delicious.
Probably my favorite flavor.
Question over here from the YouTubes.
Matt from YouTube.
Hi, Matt.
When should I take my pre-workout?
When do you lift?
Do you? Even?
About 20 or 30 minutes before you start exercising. That's generally about how much time it takes to absorb all the ingredients in there. And without the beta-alanine, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to tell. I know with the beta-alanine, you can start to feel it.
Yeah, it's like time
but
to go.
It's usually about 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, and while that is beneficial, it's not to get hung up entirely on it. A lot of pre-workouts have a combination of kind of acute and chronic ingredients. Acute being stuff that you'll feel right away to get you amped for a workout, and that's something like a stimulant blend, caffeine, teocrine, some of the others. Whereas chronic stuff is the stuff that you'll need to take over time to really reap the performance benefits, and that is more like beta-alanine over time, creatine monohydrate or other forms of creatine taken over time. So that 20 to 30 really is great so that the acute stuff, the stuff that's really going to amp you up, has time to hit your system. And then the other stuff is really just consistency more than it is timing. So making sure you're taking those products on a consistent
And again,
basis.
with the time of the day you lift, for instance, myself, we lucked out and we have a fantastic facility here that we're able to use. So I roll out of bed about 5 and I'm here by 6. So I pound my pre about 20 minutes prior to me getting here. It's about as far my drive is. When I start singing along to the radio, that's when I know it kicked in. So,
It is.
so it all depends on the person, how long you've been taking pre-workouts, the stimulant load within.
I don't know if this matters, but some pre-workouts are better for this than others, and it's probably on the ingredients that they have in them. But some I can mix with a minimal amount of water and kind of knock it back like a shot, and I find like that seems to kick in really quick versus some products you do need more water to get them down, so it's not as easy. I see some people on the gram doing it just kind of dry and taking it. Is there a benefit to that? Or?
I think that'll depend on
It's just because it looks cool,
It'll
or
depend on the serving size of the pre-workout. You see something like Jacked, and it has about a 5-gram scoop, and you can probably just shoot that back because it's not very, it's not a lot of ingredient. You get milligram doses of all the things that are in it. But if we come to a different supplement like Gym or Caged Muscle Pre-Caged, they have big like 25-gram scoops, and I definitely wouldn't recommend putting 25 grams of anything dry.
or do.
You'll be chewing that down, yeah.
So,
entertaining.
As far as absorption issues, I don't believe water would do anything there, but you're going to be more likely to enjoy it and thus continue using it if you're drinking it with water. So
here we want to talk about GAT here for Nitroflex.
absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of it being, again, the go-tos, citrulline, citrulline malate, resveratrol, stilbene, excuse me. those are extremely fantastic for blood flow, and I think that's half the battle for most people, just understanding what kind of pre-workout they actually want.
Yeah.
Some want
Like that pump, is that what we're talking
yeah,
about?
so
The pump.
the pump. More of that versus, The Walking Dead, scratch your face off because there's so much stim situation.
Been there.
Yeah, yeah. To your point, citrulline, citrulline malate have kind of become the go-to. You'll see those in a lot of pre-workouts because they're probably the more common vasodilators or blood flow, ingredients in pre-workouts these days. That's a good change. It used to be a lot of arginine, which a lot of people had a harder time with in their stomachs, and I think citrulline is probably a little more effective too. A lot of the research at 6 to 8 grams is really solid. So that's why you'll see citrulline, citrulline malate. And citrulline malate is really just citrulline with malic acid.
Exactly.
So, but you'll see both of those pretty commonly, and they're both good kind of ingredients to look out for when you're choosing a pre if you want a solid pump.
How about the Twitch universe? Anything coming through over here?
Let's see. We have a stimulant question.
Great.
Some of my viewers have gout and cannot take caffeine. This is Tom Nation time, by the way. They want to stay awake, alert, but they have to avoid caffeine. What other stimulants can they use? What else is there out there besides caffeine?
Yeah, I don't know on the gout side of things. I couldn't speak to that whatsoever. That sounds fairly condition specific.
Yeah,
but as
definitely
far as
consult
just
your doctor on that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
as
for
far as
sure.
just other stims, there's a lot of good stuff on the market.
Teacrine
I was
right
going
now.
to say teacrine. Right now, the big sexy ingredient right now is teacrine from Compound Solutions, and it gives you a lot of the mental energy that you're looking for without the heart rate and blood pressure stimulation that caffeine can give you. It's in a ton of pre-workouts now, so just look out for teacrine. That may be a good option. I know you can buy it by itself as well if you're not looking to take a pre-workout.
Definitely have a
obviously.
bottle at my desk.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I know you can buy the ingredient by itself, and it's just something you can take to help keep you a little bit more focused. Yes.
YouTube.
Oddbone from YouTube. I thought this was the Ed Sheeran Q&A.
So did we, man.
Yeah, right. This is not the Ed Sheeran
This is
Q&A.
normally where he hangs out.
Yeah.
He
Many
just
apologies.
likes this particular spot in the building. Couldn't make it today. He had a book schedule.
Oh, Ed.
Oh, indeed. Sorry.
What a guy.
Yep.
I have a,
Voice of an angel.
I think a more actual question. Can we take pre-workout before HIIT training, and can we include HIIT with muscle gaining workouts?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, HIIT is high intensity in that case, right? So high intensity caffeine, get you going even faster, lift up. And yeah, even if I'm just doing like a cardio day in the morning, I still take a little pre just to get my heart rate up. That's half the battle, burn more calories, increase your heart
Yeah,
rate.
the only thing I would say about using HIIT is I wouldn't try and do a HIIT cardio workout right before I was trying to do a heavy lift day, because you're going to expend all your energy on that high intensity interval training, and then you're going to try and go lift big, and you're not going to be able to do it, so you're not going to get
If you're
beat.
doing it right, yeah. If you're really going all out on your high
Yeah.
intensity portions, you
Save
shouldn't
it
have
for
that
the
much
end.
in the gas.
That's
yeah,
right.
in the tank there.
Yeah, depending on the duration of that activity and the intensity of it itself. If you're sprinting, or if you're jogging at 50% versus sprinting at 80 or 90, those obviously tax different energy systems.
I sprinted 110%.
Or if you're sprinting over 100. And the thing is, you're going to use that same energy system or similar energy system when you go to lift a heavy weight, because that's an intense activity near a maximal load, right? So yeah, you just kind of got to be mindful. Really, I think the question gets to, would you want to do like really long duration, steady state, also lift simultaneously? Then you might be having slightly competing goals, just because the energy requirements for those two activities are different. But
Jogging with a barbell on your back.
yeah.
There we go.
Problem solved.
There is a guy in the UK, I forget it, Ross Edgley,
Shout out to
big
Ross.
shout out. He did a triathlon where he did part of a triathlon with a tree strapped to his back.
Right.
And that is a power move.
Like a real tree or like one of those little trees?
No, I mean this thing, check out Ross on Instagram or wherever else.
Oh, full oak.
This thing is solid. Yeah, it's
A couple
substantial.
more- We got a couple more pre-workouts going, so get us your pre-workout questions. These are great. We have another one about what's a good amount of caffeine to aim for to get a great workout but avoid the crash.
Well, a lot of that depends, again, on
Tolerance, sensitivity,
time of day you took it. Like, I ride the high off my caffeine for my pre-workouts probably up until 1 p.m. It just works out just from working in the morning. But I would say anywhere between a good go-to, if you're going for a pre-workout versus something like an energized BCAA product, I would say probably 300 mgs is a good one.
It's a good
number to
max
shoot
to
for.
Yeah, 3 to 350. I think some of the dose-dependent research is based on body weight, so you have to look out for that a little bit. And also, I think there are so many other individual factors that make it hard to prescribe or to give a singular suggestion, like sensitivity, things like that. But yeah, I usually, just as a personal, 3 to 350 is
This
definitely.
guy drinks coffee all day. He's popping fat burners.
I measure caffeine in grams, so I'm probably not the best person to ask here.
Assess your tolerance and move on from there. I think that is always a
Blood
good,
type,
you know.
caffeine.
Good,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Take a half scoop.
like we have another
then a
YouTube
quarter
comment.
scoop, half scoop, full scoop, quarter scoop, 2 scoops. Perfect.
This is from Bobby from YouTube.
Hey, Bobby from YouTube.
If you're looking for stimulant-free pre-workouts,
I am.
are there a lot of options, and what are the best in your opinion?
Oh, there are.
Oh, there's plenty actually nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, just because brands know that there's different demographics to market towards.
Absolutely.
What PMP by GAT is a great one.
Yeah.
In terms of there's a stim-free version of that. I
Great
know.
pump product, yeah.
Exactly.
Different kind of goal from those type of pre-workouts. It's not going to give you the same get up and go from the energy kick like you would from all that caffeine, but I think a lot of those pump products still give you a great effect in the gym.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's still like it's like Amino Energy, BC Energy. They might have a little bit of caffeine in them, but most of them are usually from green coffee beans, so it's not as much kick.
Yeah, pretty light.
So that's still low enough stim that you could also include a little extra citrulline in it yourself, or beta-alanine if you want to get the stimulatory. Like this is how you're feeling with it versus the actual caffeine intake. Those are great options.
One of my favorites that we have on our website is the Carbon by Lane Norton.
That's another
His
fantastic
pre-workout is pretty famous for not having any big-time stimulants in it. He uses betaine, he uses creatine, he uses citrulline, and those are all very big hitters within the supplement world for strength, for blood flow. He also uses a couple of nootropics like alpha-GPC, huperzine, and so these are all ingredients that'll help you zone in, help you feel good during your workout, help you feel powerful without the stim energy.
Yeah, I would say Carbon Prep would be my go-to as well, because it's going to have that full portfolio of all the other good stuff you're looking for, like a good pump. I think it's 6 grams of citrulline in there, some good cognitive stuff that you just mentioned, and it's basically a full powerhouse minus the caffeine, so that'd be my number one. The other option too is you can always buy single ingredient stuff and make your own.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of brands that have good single ingredient offerings.
Now is really
Now,
good for that.
Cajun Muscle, yeah, there's quite a few. So you could always kind of blend your own pre, but I think Carbon Prep really takes all the guesswork out.
Absolutely.
And does the best job.
Carbon, unfortunately, isn't in this buy two, get one free, but is
Yeah.
available to ship free on orders over $49 as part of the Be Elite program, so check that out. Muscle Tech, 2 versions of their pre-workout. They have the Vapor X5. This is the next gen, which is explosive energy, and then the Vapor X5 Ripped, which is for advanced weight loss, in 2 awesome flavors. This is candy watermelon. I've had this, it's delicious.
Jolly
And I'm
Rancher,
looking forward to trying this, is the Icy Rocket Freeze.
Tastes just like a icy.
is
Like,
chocolate.
it's like a
Summertime.
rocket
That's like
bottle.
that's like a summertime pre-workout.
Oh my goodness.
Can you guys talk a little bit about the difference? I guess it's goal dependent on why I would take Ripped versus the next gen.
A little
Yes, I
bit.
can.
We'll go for it, Tyler.
Oh, well, one of the ingredients that's in the Vapor X, the original, not the Ripped, is Chinese hawthorn, I believe, is not in the other one. Oh, sorry, the ginger. So the galangal extract is a strong antioxidant. Initial studies show that it may help with cognition, and I know that Muscle Tech is excited to have that ingredient in this product. And they removed it for the Ripped version and replaced it with a couple of other ingredients such as carnitine, which is known for helping metabolize fat. They've also added a robust coffee extract and rosemary, which is another great antioxidant. And then they added theanine to the Ripped version as well, and that just helps you really focus in and make sure that you're using your workout to its greatest effect.
That's another ingredient to keep your eyes out for, theanine, in terms of its ability. If it's a standalone product, it actually, oddly enough, it helps with calming you down. But with its ability to work with caffeine, it does a little bit more than that. It kind of gets you zoned in more than calming you down, actually. A lot of pre-workouts are starting to include this in there, and it's
a lot.
Yeah.
It's becoming very popular.
I think I hear a lot of conversation around that. Some things you guys have been talking about with pre-workouts is the experience. A lot of people say, like, what's the experience of that? And I think I know what I'm looking for too. Not always just like raging energy, but the focus. I've been really liking like focus products.
Absolutely.
The pump, so that experience in the gym is unique to when I don't take a pre-workout that includes the ingredients. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the awesome things about the pre-workout category. Is more than any other, you're looking for, something, sensory You know, you supplement with protein and it is really beneficial for your goals, but you can't necessarily feel it turning on muscle protein synthesis,
No, there's
right?
no protein
It's like-
tingles.
Yeah.
Just think real hard.
Yeah,
Just feel it.
there it is. MPS.
Growing.
But the nice thing about a pre-workout that I actually think the acute ingredients can help you get a better workout, in part just mentally, because it starts that ritual. Like for me, 15, 30 minutes before I train, I like to start taking a pre, because it primes me a little to go, all right, put everything else aside.
It tells
get
me it's go
focused.
time. Yeah,
It's
and
go
I
time.
get that with the beta-alanine. You start feeling the tingles, and it's like, okay, that means it's time to lift.
ready to
Because
work.
it's the only thing that gets rid of the tingles. I'm like, my
Yeah.
face is burning. Time to lift.
You take C40.
That's true, but I like it. It feels good. Ergo Pre, some of the awesome flavors. This pineapple mango is really delicious. Great pre-workout here, and we're about to move on. I do see some questions about branched chain amino acids and other products like that, which we're about to get into. So we'll address many of those questions in just a moment. But first, available on Buy Two Get One Free this week. Ergo Pre.
Very excited about this one. I actually took this morning. I use the glacier flavor though. It's hard to explain. It tastes like a blue Gatorade, I guess is the best way to say it.
I believe when I spoke to James, he said it was very similar. James is the owner of the Ergogenics company. He said the glacier is very similar to a blueberry lemonade. So
Whatever it is, it
is
tastes
killer.
fantastic.
It's solid.
Flavors are on point. Great experience.
Yeah, and it's
Oh,
a
absolutely.
Love this pre-workout.
It's a great pre, and it's a really nice. It's I won't say simple, but fairly short list of ingredients at full doses. Which
There's
is
nothing
what
that you're
I like
gonna,
about it.
There's nothing
Yeah.
that's going to confuse you in terms of what this actually is. Each ingredient can definitely be substantiated to a certain kind of claim goal you want to get with it, and it kind of combines not only those that like stim, like myself. It has a decent dose of beta-alanine, but its nootropics are insane in terms of zoning in. When I now go back to this lifting in the morning, some of the hardest parts is just getting into the game of it all. This one right here, if you take it 15, 20 minutes prior,
You'll be ready.
Ready to rock.
that's right.
You singing to the songs in the car like a crazy person.
it's fine.
All right. Moving
Okay, I
to
got a quick question here from Raymond Batista, pre-workout question. When is the best time to take creatine for max results? Pre-workout or after? Pre-workout or after?
The main goal is just to make sure your muscles are saturated enough with it. And you don't necessarily need to do a loading phase that some people try to claim. I always do just if you do a steady 30-day supply of 5 to 10 grams, you'll be saturated enough.
Right.
A lot of people, it's hard to remember to take it, so I just throw my creatine with like pre-workout just to make sure that it's in there.
There you go.
Yeah, I think creatine is one of those supplements. We talked a little bit about this earlier. That's more about consistency than timing. So I think, yeah, the answer is really as long as you're getting it in daily over a period of time. Yeah, that's going to be the way to go. And talking about
Just dumping it right in.
Talking about that loading phase, that is one approach. It's something specific to creatine monohydrate. Monohydrate is kind of the longest studied, most researched form of creatine on the market.
The Godfather.
The Godfather, right. And if you do go with the loading phase, that's usually like 3 to 5 days of initially taking it at 20 grams a day. And that's it's split into 5-gram doses. So say 4 or 5-gram doses of creatine a day for 3 to 5 days. That is to saturate your muscles. You can achieve the same effect over time with just 5 grams a day for multiple days. It just depends, do you want to get that saturation faster? So you could take it either time is the answer, just keep it consistent.
Exactly.
All right.
Recovery. Let's talk
Recovery.
alpha aminos from the good people over at Cellucor. I have it in flavor grape. Taking some.
Yeah,
right
you're
now.
drinking it now.
Oh,
Or I mean, he's
So-
doing it now.
I mean, you can't get it in the mouth, but it's fine.
I guess it's maybe a place to start because it seems like there are some questions. Branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. They're 3 essential amino acids. They are probably the most common and popular that you'll see in supplement form. There are some essential amino acid products and things like that, but when people are looking at amino acid products, it's usually the BCAAs. Called branched because I think their structure is branched, so
That's
it's
right.
like
They do have a
branched
branch
chain.
piece in there.
The question I had was, what is best for building muscle, BCAAs or amino acids, and what's the difference between BCAAs, 2-on-1, and all these different ratios? What are the difference between the numbers? Is it concentrated? Thanks.
Yeah. So there are 3 aminos in the BCAAs, leucine, isoleucine, valine. And so the ratio you see is the ratio of one to the other. So usually 2-1-1 is the most common because that's what's found.
2 leucine to the other 2.
Yeah, so that's 2 leucine to 1 valine, 1 isoleucine. That's the most common. It's also what's found in the body, so that's why that's the most common. You'll see some companies do 4-1-1 or 8-1-1, which is 4 times the leucine or 8 times the leucine. Leucine is leucine is awesome. Leucine is a trigger for protein synthesis, so it's kind of the Mac Daddy of muscle building aminos. So that's why you'll see it in higher doses sometimes. But valine and isoleucine have important benefits of their own. I think the real thing to look for, what I like to look for, I should say, is a 3 to 3.5 gram dose of leucine, which would be then 1.5 to 1.75 grams of isoleucine and valine. So make sure when you're taking a product like this that BCAA blend is 5 grams or greater. Otherwise, you may just want to have a scoop and a half to achieve that. But that 3 grams is the leucine threshold, and that's kind of the amount you need to maximize the benefit of a serving of it. I know that's a long-winded answer, but hopefully it
I
helps.
can't even math. So
have a,
aminos are good.
Aminos are great.
Question from the YouTube.
Colleen from YouTube. Speaking of BCAAs, any recommendations for plant-based, non-soy BCAA products? I only know of one. Clean. Was curious if you knew of any others.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
there's
those
a
are
couple.
fermented. Yeah.
You have caged muscle is fermented. They're vegetable-based.
I
and
believe
then
ergos are fermented as
Ergo
well.
BCAs are also vegetable-based, with, I believe, we may be getting to that
We will.
today. Yes.
So yeah, if you're looking for plant-based, you look for fermented on the label.
backside.
And I know that Caged Muscle sells fermented BCAAs as well as ergogenics, so the ergo BCAAs, and we're going to talk about those in a little bit.
Yep.
If you guys don't mind, I do have one more question.
Yeah.
From Tomination on Twitch. He says, I'm a skeptic of BCAAs. If you're not doing fasted training, then it isn't as effective than just taking whey protein prior to working out. Amino acids stay in the blood for 1 to 3 hours, which is essentially what BCAAs are trying to do. So I guess he's trying to ask, why would I take BCAAs when I can just take whey, because whey is usually cheaper as far as protein content per dollar.
I'll take a stab at that one, and based on what I know. And yeah, on one hand, it depends on your goal. So if you're dieting, BCAAs are an alternative energy source, or really a protective energy source to ensure that if you're undergoing any catabolic activity, you're not using skeletal amino acid or amino acids in your body to power energy. So BCAAs can provide an alternative energy source in those conditions. So that's important. And then also there's a little bit of research on BCAAs as kind of a bridge between meals, and this is something that Jake Wilson's talked about, for example, where you're going to have that, say, 30 grams of protein at a meal, and you're not going to eat for another 3 to 4 hours later, using BCAAs between meals, and this is getting pretty precise and kind of micromanaging your nutrients, but that may have some benefit as well to sustaining protein synthesis. So that can be beneficial because then you're basically in an anabolic or tissue building state longer.
There's zero science behind this, or zero studies, but I know they're delicious.
They are delicious.
I find if I'm trying to drink a gallon or more of water a day, adding BCAAs is a great way for me to flavor my water, get some sort of regenerative properties that keep me drinking it. Otherwise, water, I'm like, bored.
And another functional thing is, I know I have some family members that struggle with this, but they're lactose intolerant. And being able to afford, or being able to drink whey protein is a struggle for them because they have digestive issues with the whey, and sometimes buying whey isolate can be a little expensive, and so you can get amino acids from BCAAs pretty cheap. I know the dosages would be a little shorter, but just for some of those people that want to have good flavor and get their protein intake with BCAAs while still activating that mTOR muscle building system as well, it's a really good option for them.
Yeah, and to defer to the experts too, the other thing I'd say is we have a couple great articles on the site. Lane Norton, PhD, has one, I think, many benefits of BCAAs, so Google or search that on Bodybuilding.com. Jim Stepani also has a great BCAA article on our site where he talks a little bit more about the specific benefits of BCAAs beyond muscle building. So he'll tell you a little bit more about isoleucine and valine and some of the extra things they bring to the table. Because I think a lot of people are in that position where they're like, you know what, my dietary protein is high enough, I may not need BCAAs for muscle building. And in that case, there are still some extra benefits they provide from supplementation. So
Some of the
those are worth
biochemistry there
checking
is
out.
very, very interesting.
For those of you just joining us, this is what we're hoping is going to be a weekly show where we talk about the different products that we actually are featuring on promotion, but getting a little bit behind the why you should be taking these products. So this week we have an assortment of pre-workouts, proteins, BCAAs, even some protein bars, and a few other things that we're going to get to that are buy two, get one free all week long. And the majority of these products are available for free shipping on orders over $49. This promotion is global, unfortunately excluding those good friends of ours in the UK. But that being said, we're moving on to Isotori's BioGrow.
BioGrow.
Yeah.
BioGrow.
Interesting product. I think
Yes.
this is
Much different from the others.
Yeah, yeah, very different. Peptide product, which is like kind of protein strands.
Yes.
From
Yeah, that's the best way to say it.
Amino
yeah.
acid strands.
yeah, amino acid strands. Yeah, from colostrum, I think, right?
That's
Colostrum, yeah, it's a very high nutrient milk taken
Yeah.
from some animals. And it gives you high levels of peptides, some immunoglobulins. There's plenty of science behind colostrum, and I know it's something they feed to some babies when they need to grow and they're not growing, and so it makes sense that you could drink it as a full-grown man and
Yeah, it's really
grow out
good
of it
to
as well.
Yeah, and you'll feel less funny having it in a product like BioGrow than because colostrum is basically a power-packed milk for baby cows, for calves. So it is loaded with nutrients, which is awesome. But if you don't want to, in the absence of going to a farm and getting some colostrum yourself,
I don't have a lot of time on my hands.
This
Drinks
is
like a bowl.
this is an awesome alternative.
And you can mix it in with your protein as well, so it just
It'll
adds
just go
on
right
to
in
it.
there, yeah.
I think do they have flavors in
This one's cookies and
now?
cream, yeah.
Yeah, so they have some flavors as well.
They used to have an orange cream one too.
I don't know.
That I don't remember.
Do we have any questions over on the YouTube side?
Let's see. Not at the moment.
Twitch?
I don't have any about colostrum, but if we were willing to step back just a moment for
Yeah,
BCAAs.
of course, yeah.
So Getting Fit 777 asks, what is the difference if you do not use pre-workout or BCAAs? What exactly does it do? Does it increase muscle mass? So talk about a little bit of the difference between a pre-workout and taking BCAAs pre-workout.
For sure. A lot of it being what you're trying to get out of it. You can certainly go in cold turkey and go get a lift in if you'd like. A little bit, some people need a little bit more motivation, a little bit more stimulatory effects. Some people have been working for X amount a day prior to going to the gym as well. In terms of just kind of activating some bioprocesses that really get protein synthesis going, or getting your energy going, or if you're trying to lose weight, to get your heart rate up, if you're trying to gain muscle mass, getting blood flow going, and even something as small as like what citrulline, just the pump aspect, you can feel it happening.
I feel like I still warm up, but I feel like the warm-ups are faster. I don't know if there's anything behind that, but when I take a pre-workout versus when I don't, and rarely do I not take a pre-workout, but there's been a few times where you're running out of time. It's like, well, I got to just get in a workout. It's not going to happen. I do find when I've given it the 20, 30 minutes prior to my workout, I feel like I warm up much faster and I'm kind of ready to rock.
Absolutely.
Science.
Yeah, and a lot of pre-workouts, some of the larger dosed pre-workouts now have BCAAs in them, which is awesome.
Yep.
You used to have to, 10 years ago, the categories were a lot more distinct. You'd have to really actively go search for BCAA or for creatine. Now, a lot of the more comprehensive pre-workout formulas have branch chains and some extra ingredients. Again, for me, the biggest difference is always pre-workouts. They're like most basic. Why take a pre-workout? It's for short-term kind of performance benefits to get the most out of that workout. Long-term, some of the more chronic ingredients in there, like beta-alanine, creatine, they're included, and BCAAs, they're included for the longer-term effect that is going to help you hopefully achieve better results, over time.
And let's talk a little bit about EVL's BCAA Energy. We have it here in lemon lime flavor, and this is essentially just BCAAs with caffeine or some sort of energy support.
This is our coffee in the morning, honestly. So
Put a
Chris
couple
likes to
tubs
mix
of this.
way into his coffee. This is what I have instead of coffee because, it gives me. You mentioned just the taste of having that stuff in your water every morning. It tastes amazing. They come in with tons of awesome flavors. You get the BCAAs to help keep your muscle protein synthesis high, and then I believe this product comes in at about 110 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah, for
from
2
natural-
scoops, and they
Right.
show kind of a system on the back where you can go from 2 scoops to 6 scoops, ranging
yeah,
from
that's-
110 milligrams to 330. So I mean, that's almost a pre-workout.
I don't really go that high, but yeah, that is pre-workout level caffeine, and it is cool. They get all of their caffeine from natural sources. There's no caffeine anhydrous in this product. It all comes from green tea and green coffee beans. So, this is a great way for at least the way I do. I start my day with this product.
And with that, you can use this for, say, if you have low stim kind of needs, if you're easily affected by caffeine, this is a great product for you if you want to go take 2 to 4 scoops, get a decent amount of caffeine from the natural sources to go get a lift in, or if you want something to sip on while you're doing cardio. It's very versatile product.
Because sometimes you don't want 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Sometimes I want 4.
I don't know.
Sometimes I want
600
more.
milligrams.
In my mind, this category, which is like BCAA, or amino acids with energy, these are awesome to replace, for me, like some people for coffee. For me, it's the convenience store kind of energy drinks.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
price per serving is honestly better. The
Ooh,
flavor's
super good,
just
yeah.
as good. And the ingredient profile is better. You're actually going to get higher doses of the things you want in all those. So that's why I love them.
And without, usually a lot of these come with no sugar at all, so they're really low. I mean, sometimes 0 calories, sometimes really low calories. So it's, it's a great way to keep slim, keep energized, and keep happy.
And frankly, it's an open label as well. So it's nice to see what you're putting in.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
have 2 questions. I got one more from Facebook, and then we'll grab one from YouTube. With pre-workouts having dosage of BCAAs already in it, is there an issue with still taking additional BCAAs? Is there such a thing as taking too much BCAAs?
I would say no. I don't think there's any issue with taking more. Like we talked about earlier, the amount of protein or specific amino acids that you would take to have an issue with liver issues or blood chemistry issues is very, very high. And so if you're just having 1 or 2 more servings of BCAAs throughout the day, it's absolutely no issue at all.
What do you got?
Botech from YouTube. Why do people take BCAAs in the morning right after they wake up?
Why do people take BCAAs in the morning right after they wake up is the question.
Similar to what we talked about with protein, just to get something in you. You've been fasting for some people up to, the average, what the recommended 8 hours a day. You haven't eaten anything, probably longer than that. And if you ate dinner right before bed, depending, most of us is probably like 12 hours.
And that's so the muscle tissue's breaking down overnight and we're in a catabolic state. Is that what we're trying to...
Exactly. You're trying to reignite protein synthesis to keep going
That's
throughout the
right.
day and to somewhat satiate.
Yeah, building muscle is a balance between muscle protein synthesis, MPS, or muscle protein breakdown or degradation. And so overnight you haven't had any fuel in your system, so to speak. So aminos are a really rapid fire way, probably the fastest way to get your blood amino acid levels to rise and try and spark protein synthesis. So we talked a little bit about it. Leucine, which is one of those 3 BCAAs, is kind of the biggest trigger in the amino world for that. So getting BCAAs right when you wake up, as long as you're getting 3 grams of leucine, may help spike that initial protein synthesis. And I think a lot of people who take BCAAs over a whole food meal in the morning might just do it for convenience or because they're about to train. If you have all the time in the world or your preference, you can do BCAAs or a shake or a whole food meal. But depending on what you're about to do or how much time you have, BCAAs can be really convenient for that reason.
Or kind of what Keith was saying, if those that have issues drinking water, getting water in right when you wake up in general is just a good way to get your system flowing. And if you rather have something a little bit tastier, go for that way.
Another taste test?
We only have about 2 other products left. So if you have any other questions, we'd really like to field them for you. We hope if this was valuable to come back and do this again next week to talk to you about not only the promotions going on. These great products are available for buy 2, get 1 free. And most of these will ship for free on orders over $49. And one of the last products we're looking into is Amino Build Next Gen from MuscleTech. I've had I think they have an orange mango that's amazing. This is white raspberry, and that sounds pretty delicious, to tell you the truth.
That comes in the Icy Rocket Freeze as well, too.
Absolutely, it does.
Which is,
Would buy.
Choice.
yes.
This is a cool product. It separates itself just a little bit from some of the other BCAAs because it has betaine in it, which we know is great for helping you improve strength with your workouts. So this may be used as kind of like a post-workout way to get ready for the next workout. But then also a great electrolyte blend as well that includes sodium chloride, dipotassium phosphate, just a way to replenish those electrolytes that you may have sweat off during the workout as well. So pretty cool little replenishment product here.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things. A lot of people in the endurance community can actually benefit from products like this, in part because branch chains are so good for recovery. They can be an alternative energy source. And with an electrolyte blend, you're going to replace, some of the micronutrients you lose when you sweat. And it's not talked about as often, but I'm a half marathoner, not a fast one by any means. But I actually love that I can, kind of combine both worlds, so to speak. So I take a lot of BCAAs, especially those with added electrolytes, sodium, potassium. And I found them to be really helpful on my long run. So if you're a runner out there, that's definitely something to consider.
Sounds like a bad idea. I do have one quick question here, and then another coming from YouTube. Someone asking, do you guys eat food and enjoy it, or fill up your tank with fuel? Food fuel? Some of that's a little confusing, but I think I know what you're getting at. I know, speaking for myself, and I probably speak for the group, we eat a lot of food. Supplements are just that. They supplement your diet with maybe some gaps that you have. I'd certainly eat a lot of food if you couldn't tell. But yeah, no, food is the big part of it. That's the number one. And then moving down into supplementation is much further down the bottom. I mean, it's just a piece of the puzzle.
I agree. In a perfect world, we wouldn't need supplements, right? You want to be able to eat everything that you need to consume, but sometimes it's just not practical, and so that's where supplements would come in.
Especially when you're training hard, you're maybe playing sports, or you're preparing for something. We put our bodies through the ringer. I know training 5 days a week, you feel pretty banged up and beaten down, so these products are to help fill in those gaps that Whole Foods can't kind of get you the recovery and nutrition that you need.
And some of the performance ingredients too you'd have to eat a lot of food to get them in the amounts you need.
Okay,
so
like how much red meat would you have to eat to get the creatine that
yeah,
required?
if you wanted 5 grams of creatine,
I
you'd
probably
need,
could do it, yeah.
you know, because they are found in naturally occurring sources, but you know, just not in the same quantities. So there is kind of the twofold reason:
Well, I think
cover gaps and then add stuff for performance.
And I think part of the question was, do we actually enjoy food?
Oh yeah.
And it's it's about a healthy lifestyle. You can be as gung-ho as you want about it. I've been in the, depending upon my goal in mind, where I just track everything to the gram, or I give myself a little bit of a leeway. I'm not really a big fan of calling something a cheat day or cheat meals. It's more of just refeed days or just to enjoy yourself. Saturdays are that for me. If there's an opportunity that pops up, I don't say no. And it's just about enjoying yourself to a certain degree. You're not going to go off the deep end by any means, but a lot of that comes with kind of experience with just knowing what you can handle and just eating things in moderation too.
Yeah, it's great. Now, keep these questions coming. They're great. And, you know, we're trying to take some time to show you a little bit inside of Bodybuilding.com. We all work here. We try to live the lifestyle. We take a lot of these supplements. So it's not just marketing speak here. These are products we're taking, we're trying when we're speaking about flavors or experience. It comes from that experience. Chris and I train together every day down in the gym after work. And we're here kind of living it. Not only is it the job, but it's something that we're really interested in, and I think we share that interest with you. So this has been a great opportunity to connect with you and keep those questions coming.
Yeah, because we're not just employees, we're customers as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I was
Yeah,
a customer
we all started
before,
there.
yeah, long before I ever worked here. From the YouTube,
So this is from Juan. Can you work out too much?
can you work out too much?
Like I'm in construction, then I go to the gym. Is that healthy?
So he's doing construction and he's working out in the gym.
Yeah, there's a good quote here, and it's really difficult to work too hard. It is possible to work too much, right?
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes. In fact, there's even a condition, rhabdo or rhabdomyosis, which is kind of brought on by excess exercise. So it is something it's important to be mindful of. Even just overtraining if you're overdoing it for too long, but most of us, I think even if you work construction, you're probably in a good spot. You have to feel that out to a certain extent. Most of us with desk jobs really have to conceptualize it as if we sit or even just walk a little for 6 to 8 hours a day, a couple hours in the gym is insanely beneficial because it's actually very corrective. With construction, you probably have to be a little more mindful of your activity level. But even so, a lot of recovery is brought on through nutrition and through proper rest and then some other recovery techniques. So as long as you're eating enough to fuel and sustain that activity, sleeping, resting enough, you're good.
Listen to your body. I don't know if I've ever gotten to a point of overtraining, but you can tell when you're flirting with too much. You have joint pain or you're feeling over fatigued or it's really hard to get into the workout. Sometimes your body's trying to tell you something. So if you're having trouble focusing or really getting into the rhythm where you'd normally be able to operate at a high intensity in your workouts and you're just not feeling it or you're feeling some aches and pains and some strains, sometimes rest is the best remedy. Fuel up, get some rest, and get back after it another day.
Rest is best.
Yeah,
Nutrition is going to be really important there. Make
Yeah.
sure you're not burning more calories than you're eating if you're not trying to lose weight. I know you can definitely go overboard by burning 3,000 calories a day and only eating 2, but if you're not trying to lose weight and you may start wasting away. It's all.
Yeah, I was going to say with that, I have friends that work in construction and are also in the military that they just don't get enough food per day. They're like, man, I would be just huge. I'm like, yeah, you would if you tracked what you ate and you realize that you can actually get away with eating way more than most people do just because you're that active. And And that'll help you sustain more training just because you're able to keep up with the load.
Yeah, and hopefully this is, I think if you want to quantify that somehow, I guess, there are some good calculators online that will take into account activity level as kind of a multiplier. We have some on our site, so look for total daily energy expenditure or TDEE calculator, or look for even a BMR calculator might lead you to the ones I'm thinking of. But they'll basically calculate based on a couple different equations out there your kind of daily caloric requirements, and then they'll take a multiplier that you'll choose. So you'll be able to say, I'm super active, and they'll multiply based on that activity to give you your kind of recommended daily calories to maintain, build, or even lose weight.
We have that on the
can be
site.
helpful.
We have
Yep.
that on the nutrition section of the site as well.
Yep, so you can check out the calculators on our site. Yeah.
And we're starting to run out of time here. We want to thank you for joining us. Again, all these products we featured today are available for buy two, get one free on our site all week long. That is global, excluding the UK. Pretty much all of these products ship for free on orders over $49 of qualifying products. There's thousands of top products available on our site. If you see a little link pretty much anywhere on our site that says free shipping, you can click on that and learn what applies and how that works, but it's pretty simple. $49 or more in your cart of these qualifying products, they ship free. We're hoping to do this weekly to tell you about the products that are going to be on promotion, but also why you should even bother taking them. We slapped together this whole program in about 45 minutes, and we picked a name about 7 minutes prior to going live. I don't love the name. I think it's Supp Talk, right?
No, what's up?
What's up? What's up? Yeah.
We are looking for recommendations.
Please give us a good name. We need a good name. Come back, give us some comments about a good name for the show. Also, come back next week. We're going to be introducing some giveaways, possibly. Also, unique discounts for people watching the live stream. We're going to try to keep it fresh. Come back and join us. And hit us up with any questions on the Facebook. Come back and join us on Twitch.
Yeah, in general, if you found any of this helpful, let us know on our channel pages what you want to hear and see more of. We really want to step it up and interact as much as we can.
Absolutely.
Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, be sure to, obviously if you're here on Facebook, but check us out on YouTube and subscribe. We have videos coming out daily. We're also doing some live streaming there and some new unique content. We're new to Twitch. We're trying to live stream at least 2 times per week, hopefully ramping that up. So welcome and thanks for joining us over on the Twitch side of things. Be sure to tag your friends or share with anyone you might think would find this useful. Hopefully you got some quality information out of us and maybe demystified a little bit about why you should be taking these products. We love them, we take them, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Bam.